Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Whether you're a lifelong Lions fan or just someone obsessed with finding that next breakout name before the rest of the world catches on, you've picked the perfect moment to tune in. Because today, we're diving into a story that's been slowly simmering beneath the surface of mainstream draft coverage, but it's about to boil over. A name that hasn't been blasted across headlines or projected in the top 50 picks, but one that might just be the next great building block in Detroit's growing dynasty. We're talking about Carson Schwezinger, linebacker out of UCLA. A player whose story reads like something out of a football movie. A guy who went from completely under the radar to potentially becoming one of the most important additions to the Lions' defense this offseason. And here's the wild part. The more you learn about him, the more it starts to feel like this pick is inevitable. But before we go any further, we're going to slow things down and peel back the layers on this one. Because this isn't just about a player. This is about identity, about grit, about how a team like Detroit, led by Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, has redefined what it means to build a winner. And if you stick with me through this video, I promise, by the end, you're going to be asking the same question we are. How long can the rest of the league afford to sleep on Carson Schwezinger? So let's get into it. The Detroit Lions are no longer the league's punchline. Let's just say it out loud. This team has gone from perennial underachiever to division favorite, and in some corners of the league, even a dark horse Super Bowl pick. That's not by accident. That's the result of a meticulously constructed roster that puts character, toughness, and culture first, and fills it with players who embody that Motor City mentality. You look at the last few drafts, Aiden Hutchinson, gritty local product who bleeds blue and silver. Penei Sewell, a mauler in the trenches. Monterey St. Brown, drafted in the 4th round and now playing like a superstar. Jamar Gibbs and Sam Laporta, explosive playmakers with humility and work ethic. Brian Branch, a tone setter. And behind it all, Dan Campbell, the man who's turned grit into a brand, and Brad Holmes, the GM who keeps finding value where no one else is looking. Now zoom in on the linebacker room. That's where things get really interesting. Yes, the Lions have Jack Campbell. And yes, Malcolm Rodriguez has shown flashes of being a core contributor. But when you stack this defense up against some of the top units in the NFC, there's still one key ingredient missing: range, coverage instincts, and sideline-to-sideline speed at the linebacker level. Someone who can erase tight ends. Someone who can handle motion-heavy offenses. Someone who can make the defense truly complete. And folks, that's where Carson Schwezinger walks into the picture. Let's talk background. Schwezinger started at UCLA as a walk-on. No scholarships, no fanfare, no rivals ranking. He wasn't even a starter until his senior year. But he never quit. He chipped away one practice at a time, one special teams rep at a time, and by the time his final season rolled around, he had earned the respect of the coaching staff, the locker room, and eventually, the national spotlight. In his senior year, Schwezinger posted 83 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 interception. But even those numbers don't fully do him justice. Because if you really want to understand what makes him special, you need to watch the tape. This guy sees the game like a quarterback. He anticipates. He adjusts. He communicates. He's that player who diagnoses a play before the ball is even snapped, and then flies into position to make the stop. He may not have 4.4 speed, but he plays fast because he's rarely a step behind. His motor, relentless. His mentality, straight out of a Dan Campbell fever dream. We're talking about a guy who plays every down like it's the last of his career. And that's where things start to feel a little familiar. Because if you've been paying attention to how the Lions draft, you know this is exactly the type of player they fall in love with. Guys who were overlooked. Guys with a chip on their shoulder. Guys who know what it's like to fight for everything they have and still walk in every day asking for more. So now the speculation begins. Is Carson Schwezinger on Detroit's radar? And how early could they be willing to strike? Let's take a look at the draft board. Right now, the Lions are armed with picks number 29, 1st round, number 61, 2nd round, and number 73, 3rd round, plus multiple day 3 selections. Most mocks have Schwezinger going anywhere from the 4th to the 6th round. But here's the thing, some scouts believe that's way too low. Word is that Schwezinger has been absolutely crushing interviews with teams. One anonymous NFC scout reportedly told an insider he's going to be a coach someday. He's that sharp. But right now, he's still getting better, and he plays with a fire you can't teach. Now imagine this scenario. The Lions fall in love with him during pre-draft meetings. They don't want to wait. They don't want to risk someone like the Steelers or Patriots scooping him up late in round 3. So Holmes moves up 5 or 6 spots on day 2 to grab his guy. And the fan base? They might not recognize the name at first. But by week 4, when Schwezinger is flying across the field, blowing up screens, sticking to tight ends, and laying the wood on special teams, suddenly, it all makes sense. Think about the locker room dynamics, too. You put Carson Schwezinger next to Jack Campbell? You've got 2 instinctive, hard-nosed, culture-driven linebackers who complement each other beautifully. Campbell brings the size and downhill strength. Schwezinger brings the range, coverage, and mental processing. Together, they could form one of the most balanced young linebacker duos in the league and be cost-controlled for years. And here's another layer. The Lions have made it no secret that they want leaders. Not just great players, great people. Schwezinger was named a team captain in just 1 year of starting. That's rare. That tells you everything about how he's viewed in the building. He's the kind of player who's first in the film room, last to leave the weight room, and already coaching up younger guys during walkthroughs. That's not potential. That's not upside. That's foundation. So now we ask again, could Carson Schwezinger be the next steal in Brad Holmes' draft legacy? Could he be the guy we look back on in 2 years and say, how on earth did he fall to the 3rd round? Could this be another Amon-Ra St. Brown situation, where the Lions find a cornerstone player after most of the league looks the other way? More and more fans are starting to think so. Just scroll through Lions Twitter. You'll see clips of Schwezinger breaking up passes, forcing fumbles, crashing the backfield. And in the comments, fans are already saying, this guy feels like a Lion. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Should the Lions make a move for Carson Schwezinger? Would you be excited to see them draft a high IQ, high-motor linebacker who fits Dan Campbell's culture to a T? Or do you think there's too much risk in drafting a 1-year starter from a mid-tier program? Let me tell you where I stand. I'm all in. Give me the guy with the scars. Give me the fighter. Give me the player who had to earn every inch and still shows up like he has something to prove. Carson Schwezinger might not be flashy. He might not be a combine darling. But when you watch how he plays, when you hear how he leads, when you feel the fire he brings, you just know. This guy was made to wear Honolulu blue. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an update. The draft is almost here, and we've got more deep dives, bold predictions, and inside stories coming your way every single day. Until next time, one pride, baby. Let's go.